What's up guys, it's Amir, and these are a few things that you are doing that are absolutely putting your hair loss on a rocket ship and shooting it to the moon because of how fast you're absolutely accelerating it. And I want to cover these few things so in case you're doing them, you can stop them, keep them under control, and if they're out of control, you can take some action against it to getting it back in your controls. But before we do, I'd like to thank the sponsor of today's video, Vera Clinic. Vera Clinic is where I got my hair transplant done from, and if you are looking to get your transplant done, they are the place to go. They are a team of trusted professionals who can get you natural looking and long lasting results for a fraction of a price of what you'd be paying over here in the States. And if you want to see my whole journey of how my transplant went down and my progress month by month to get to where my hair is now, I'll leave a link to the whole playlist in the description below, as well as the contact information for Vera Clinic so you can contact them for your free online consultation. That being said, let's jump right into the video. Number one, the first most commonly overlooked thing, especially if you are in the bodybuilding space, is creatine or TRT or any sort of anabolic steroids. I don't like to put creatine, anabolic steroids, TRT in the same category, but the reason why they fall under the same umbrella is because they do one common thing. They work in their own separate subcategories, but one of the most common things that they do is that they raise your DHT levels. I personally take creatine every single day, but I do have a DHT management protocol, which is finasteride, which helps me keep it under control. But if you have hair loss in your genetics and you're taking this supplement, that's gonna only accelerate the hair loss. And the reason why for that is there was a study done on rugby players who started taking creatine for only 2 weeks. Their DHT levels doubled. DHT is a hormone that causes hair loss, and for some people who are not DHT sensitive, that's no problem. But for people like us who have that genetic hormone for hair loss, spiking DHT levels or doubling your DHT levels is only going to double your hair loss, and as a result make you go bald faster. And essentially that's the same thing with TRT or any sort of anabolic steroids, because most of them, they spike your T levels so high, and as a result of that, when T spikes, so does DHT, and when DHT spikes that high, that's when you start seeing hair loss. So if you don't have a DHT prevention protocol like finasteride, dutasteride, or even RU58841, then you're going to be setting yourself up to accelerate your hair loss, especially if you're in the bodybuilding space. So if you're taking these things, make sure to have that DHT under control before you continue. The second thing that can accelerate hair loss is the lack of scalp care. A clean scalp is a healthy scalp, and if you're not washing your hair every few days, or if you're neglecting the scalp, what you are doing is that when those pores end up getting clogged, it also stops the new hair from growing, because there's literally a blockage in the way of the hair growing. And when those pores are clogged with dirt, grime, sweat, and all the things that are built up, granted, yes, some of our naturally built oils in our hair is healthy for us, which is why you shouldn't be shampooing and stripping those every single day, but going too long without it can also cause just as much harm in terms of affecting your growth and the longevity of the hair that you have on your scalp. Make sure to clean your scalp properly. I know there's this new trend going around, I've been seeing it all over TikTok, of no shampoo. If you're participating in something like that, at least use a conditioner every single day, so that way you're still cleaning your scalp and also rehydrating it with the essential nutrients that your scalp needs to still be healthy. Personally, I don't see the reason for that. I still use my shampoo and conditioner every 2 or 3 days, and it's been helping me maintain a very nice, clean, healthy scalp, and I still manage to keep the hair that I have plus grow more, and I haven't had an issue. So make sure to keep your scalp clean. Next up, let's talk about hairstyles and hair products. Now, we already know excessive heat can cause damage on your hair, but did you know if you're doing a tight hairstyle where your hair is pulled back all the time for a multiple hours per day, or if you're wearing a hat where again your hairline is pulled back like this, having your hair pulled like that for an extended period of time can cause something called traction alopecia. And again, if you have that hair loss hormone where you're genetically programmed to lose hair, doing something like that is only going to speed up that process. So if I'm styling my hair, I have this blow dryer that has different temperatures on the heating levels. Instead of the extremely hot setting, I'll just use the medium setting, and I'll keep the blow dryer much further away so I'm not directly going into my scalp with all that heat at once, which can possibly cause damage to those follicles. Another thing these kids are doing, I feel so old saying these kids are doing on TikTok, but another thing I've been seeing very commonly, kids especially in their teens, they're getting like these perms and blowouts and all these crazy hairstyles that require heavy chemicals to achieve that look. And in the process of you dyeing or perming your hair, you're causing so much damage with those chemicals, and that damage most of the time is irreversible and takes a lot of effort. And also to maintain that hairstyle, especially if it's a perm, it goes away in a few months, so you have to do it again and again repeatedly. And if you put your hair through those harsh environments multiple times a year, again, if you're prone to hair loss genetically, that's only going to speed it up. So moral of the story is be gentle on your hair, let it do its thing naturally. Don't try to manipulate it with too many chemicals, too much heat. That's gonna hurt you in the long run. Next up is obesity. If you're someone who is overweight and you have genetic hair loss, studies have shown that higher levels of obesity is also linked to higher levels of DHT. So by staying in a caloric surplus all the time and being overweight, you're pretty much speeding up your chances of going bald. So worst case scenario, you don't want to be bald and fat. And instead, if you're in that position, you want to be losing that weight with a balanced diet, exercise to help mitigate this effect and live a healthy lifestyle. It's not just about your hair. When you are obese, you're also going to be running into other health complications down the line, which is only going to make things harder for you. So instead, we want to approach this from a holistic point of view where we prioritize eating our protein, because protein helps not only build muscle but also helps build hair, obviously our veggies and all the things that we need to get our micronutrients in, all under a caloric deficit while going to the gym at least 2-3 times per week. And that right there, you're going to put yourself in an optimal position for not just healthy hair but also a healthy life. Lastly, I want to talk about inflammation. Inflammation, especially in the scalp, can cause high levels of DHT production, and scalp conditions like dermatitis or psoriasis can lead to the inflammation, which can further contribute to hair loss. So if you are experiencing inflammation in the scalp, obviously the first thing you want to do is speak to a medical professional about this. One of the easier ways to treat this at home is by using a gentle shampoo combined with lukewarm to cold water and a massage. The water part is very important. We don't want to be using scorching hot water, because not only that can cause damage on your existing hair follicles because of the heat, but also make the inflammation worse. When something gets inflamed or we hurt something, obviously the first thing that we do is we use something like an ice pack. So having that cold exposure, especially to the water, is going to help with inflammation. And using a gentle shampoo, make sure it has anti-inflammatory ingredients such as aloe vera, tea tree oil, and chamomile. These are excellent for reducing inflammation. That combined with some cold exposure is going to really help tone it down, and as a result suppress some of those DHT levels, which contribute to your hair loss. So if you are in one or all of these positions, I hope I was able to make you aware of them and also give you an idea on what to do and how to combat against it. But overall, when it comes to speeding up hair loss, we all have habits that we are unaware of, that we just do without thinking. And if we are prone to genetic hair loss, doing some of these things or having some of these conditions can make it worse. So if you are in one of these conditions, make sure you're proactively taking action against it, because with hair loss, when it rains, it pours, and we want to be able to snip this before it ends up becoming a big monster and us having to invest, thousands down the line with like treatments and trying to play catch up. Because as I say, prevention is always better than recovery. It's cheaper, it's easier, and you're always just cruising on maintenance mode instead of having to stress about recovering it. So I hope these tips helped you and you found them helpful. And if you guys did, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, subscribe, hit that bell, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.